Good morning. It's 11:45. We're going to get rolling here. I want to welcome everybody who's here live and in person at Notre Dame Academy. Thank you to Notre Dame Academy for hosting us. A great, fabulous location for us, great parking, great facility, and we are certainly thankful for that. We want to welcome everybody on the webinar. We've got a number of people, probably the exact same amount, if not a few more, on webinar here. I think we've got people from Duluth joining us, Rochester, other fine places in our state. So welcome. Again, I'm Tim Betts. I'm the president of the Minnesota Independent School Forum. Thank you for all being here. We've got a great presentation today by Megan Junius. And I'm going to introduce Megan in a second, but I also want to talk a couple of quick little things about MISF. First of all, as all of you know, we're kind of gone through our membership renewal phase. We're back in action through the year. So keep an eye on all the professional development opportunities. We've got a handout here that's at the desk over here. Those of you online, sorry. But anyway, so there's some great opportunities coming up throughout the year. Mark that down. Also, I know you all keep an eye on this, but the STEM grant process will open up in the next couple of months, so keep an eye on that in terms of when the LOIs are due as well as the grant item. Third thing, also, the last week we were attending a conference, the Wisconsin Evangelical Lutheran Synod School Conference, which is at St. Croix Lutheran. Great opportunity to see many of our schools. We'll be at the MINSA conference in a couple of weeks at Our Lady of Grace in Edina, another great opportunity, so don't be afraid to come by and say hello, because we'll be looking for you as well. So today we've got a great presentation by Megan Junius. A little background on Megan. I'm going to read her official bio, but I'm going to color it in a little bit. Megan has worked in design for more than 18 years as a graphic designer and art director, leading brand and advertising projects for national consumer and B2B clients. Megan embraces project challenges head-on and never lets go. She combines her big picture understanding with a fine grasp of details. Her firm foundation in print and digital marketing assures that even the most complex and large-scale projects sail through to final execution with ease. How about that? She works closely with clients to understand objectives and brings back creative solutions for her award-winning team that produce those aha moments. Megan is an Iowa native, graduate of the College of St. Benedict, and a mom of 3. She resides in St. Paul with her husband and family. I want to also add that Megan came to our school leadership conference a couple of years ago, was on a panel, a leadership panel. We talked about leaders, and it was a great opportunity for us to hear from her perspective as a CEO of a company, a very successful graduate of one of our private colleges in the state, which is a wonderful ecosystem we've been built together. But it's just a great opportunity. She's dynamite. She's great sense of humor. Unfortunately for her, I've known her husband a little bit longer than Megan, so I'll leave that out for that'll be like the podcast afterward or something like that. So please welcome Megan Junius.
Great, thanks for all coming today and logging in online. The presentation is called Standing Out, Being Bold, and Working a Plan. But first, just want to say welcome, and he kind of gave a little bit about me, but I'll go into this a little bit more. My agenda today is to give you a little bit about me and about Peter Hill Design, and then a little bit about the background of our work in the education industry. And we have some marketing trends to inspire you and get you thinking about different ideas that you could use. And then we go into kind of branding, marketing, and admissions specifically. And then I have some work examples. We've been working with St. Thomas More for about 2 years now. We just rebranded District 196 for last school year's launch, and that's still fairly new. And then we recently worked with Lakeville School District this summer. So we have some other examples to show you in the education world, and then there will be time for a question and answer. So first about me, I'm a mom, business owner, juggling life. These are my 3 cuties who go to St. Thomas More. My little guy just started in the preschool program, so I officially have all 3 at 1 drop-off, but I went there 3 times today. So. And about Peter Hill Design. So I bought the business from Peter Hill in 2011. I started working for him in 2000. But really my marketing career in the education world started when I was at St. Ben's. So I've learned all the computer programs as a student employee of the marketing department. It was then called the Public Affairs Office, and the Macs were like this big, but it was so cool that they had Macs and nobody else did. So I got a job there. So that's where I started, and then started working one other place out of college and then started working for Peter. So at Peter Hill Design, we build valuable brands. We touch anything anybody's logos on. We're a creative and marketing and advertising firm that builds valuable brands, stand out creative through high-level strategy, fresh design, and compelling messaging. We really think design is a key component in everything we do, but we really like to pair the best words with the best graphics. We're a small shop, so we're really collaborative with our clients, flexible, creative, and strategic. Some of our experience I mentioned already, District 196, Clark University. So Stephanie, who's in the audience here, is our lead designer, and when she was attending Clark, so she worked in the marketing department there too, so that's why I hired her. University of Minnesota, Lakeville, Dakota Institute, and American Indian OIC are two schools in Minneapolis that cater to Native American communities. College of St. Benedict, Creighton, and Career Quest Learning Center. So Career Quest is on the higher ed level of things, but I threw that in because it's really where, besides St. Ben's, my education marketing experience started. So we were the agency of record for Career Quest, which was a career school in Michigan with 3 campuses. So we did all of their, we rebranded them, we did all of their online lead generation, all of their everything for over 3 years of our agency of record. So now into the education world. So we know that there's a lot of choices out there. I know in the St. Paul market specifically, I mean, I can drive 5 minutes to go to 5 or 10 maybe different private, charter, independent schools. I was saying I don't know as much about the outstate schools when you have less private competition, but maybe you have more competition from the charter, magnet, or district schools. But we know just as parents, there's so many choices out there. You can decide to send your children to, French school, German immersion school, all girls. So really, how do you cut through that clutter and make your message known when you're competing against so many different specific things? That's the challenge, right? So some of the trends that we're seeing too stand out, some of the marketing trends. I mean, just overall, there's information overload, right? I mean, everyone's on their phone 24/7. Right now, mobile's trending upward to take over, I think, desktop, but really still kind of depends what market you're in. We do a lot of legal attorney work, and I will say their web stats are not what consumer web stats are. The people are still all on their desktops when they search for attorneys. But when I think people are looking for schools, they're searching from their couch at night or their bed on their phone. So 60% of internet traffic right now is mobile. The stat is consumers are spending more than 5 hours a day on their smartphones. And if you go into the stats of per minute, and I think your phone can even tell you how often you look at it, it's kind of disgusting. Video is a big trend that I don't think is going away. I think it's getting stronger. Video is emotional. People can connect to videos. They can watch videos instead of touring. But it really starts to drive decisions more. And 45% of people are watching over an hour of Facebook and video per week. That seems pretty easy to get to an hour in a week. Social influencers and user-generated content. So the social media platforms are blowing up and they're changing, but the content is becoming easier because your kids at your school are starting to post content, your parents are posting content, so your users are doing some of the content for you. It's helping build communities and build engagement, and also can build those influencers. There has to be the one mom who's on Facebook all the time who posts everything and is connected to everyone, right? She's your social influencer, so use her accordingly. Also, word of mouth. So peer reviews. I mean, we all know that in-person word of mouth or referrals is the best way to get business, but also now online peer reviews. If you have a Google rating of 5 stars or your Facebook ratings it really starts to mean things. People are reading those reviews and they trust them. So monitoring those, responding to them is getting more important because your reputation is more online. So here's where I know that you all have limited resources. We're all juggling our time. You're potentially marketing, admissions, fundraising, all in one job title. And there's tools out there to help you do some of that online stuff. There's tools called Hootsuite can help you schedule social media. There's a lot of ways to use your content, like I said, have repost to what your parents are saying instead of coming up with your own things. And then there's also a lot of community resources. There's a lot of stuff going on that you can attach yourself to, stuff that's going on in your community instead of trying to be the lead one generating that content. So we have a couple of fun examples right now to show you that are not necessarily in the K through 12 space, but I brought up the University of St. Thomas's new brand. I think they launched it in 2016, but it seems like it's a little more prevalent lately. The picture is a little fuzzy, but their bus sides, their signage, their logo has been tweaked and 2 purples now instead of 1 purple. Some subtle changes, but they really have modernized and they're really getting behind their new mission, all is for the common good, or all for the common good. On their website, there's staff and student stories that are reinforcing the tagline. A lot of the stuff I read was how much the students like it. And the story behind their branding, they had focus groups of over 500 people. That was a lot of staff, alum, everyone you can think of, I guess. And then they had a committee of 20 stakeholders to work through that process, and they worked with 2 different agencies to bring it to life. But the feedback is that the community is really embracing the change. I think that the purple is vibrant and strong, and it's really standing out against the competition of a lot of the schools with the red. And then I pulled a video to show you. So this is a school in Utah, just really out of the box, thinking for a school video and how to be a little entertainment for us. Come on.
And all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running at you. It's only this moment, don't care what can gather. Your fever dream, can't you see, getting closer. Just surrender, cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a preacher in the pulpit and your blind devotion. There's something breaking at the brick of every wall that's holding on that you know. So tell me, do you want to go? Where it's carrying on the colonize, where the runaways are running the night. Impossible come true, it's taking over you. We light it up, we won't come down. And the sun can't stop us now. Watch it come true, it's taking over you. Colossal we come, these renegades in the ring. Where the lost get found, every crown of the circus king. Don't fight it, it's coming for you, running. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. It's lining up, Intoxicating you. We light it up, we won't come down. The sun can't stop us now. Watching it come true. We're taking over you. This is the greatest show. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. Let's get right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. It's everything you ever want. It's everything you ever need. Let's get right in front of you. This is where you wanna be. This is where you wanna be.
John, give us a little dance. You got something for us? No. A little something? No. Dance? No. Greatest show? No.
So super fun, really creative way to stand out, be bold. And I had the stats, but I forgot. They're on my notes page. I feel like they maybe had like 600,000 views or something. If you do YouTube, just Greatest Showman in school, it comes like right up. And actually, my 7-year-old was the one who showed it to me. And she's like, I want this. So I'm like, obviously, they know their audience, right? So then into branding, marketing, and missions. So I know that the title or the topic was supposed to be admissions and marketing, but I really wanted to throw in branding because I really think that that's where everything should start. And from this diagram, marketing diagram funnel, which really started with the branding and the reputation and building trust first. And I think that's really a good way to start before you really talk marketing. There's so many different things you can do, but really, what is the essence of who you are? That's where you want to start with first. I did think that this was missing a key component of the strategy and planning before it just goes right into the marketing, so I added that one in. And then I like how they separated the digital and traditional. While a lot of stuff overlap, there's so many different ways you can go now, but it's nice to have it broken out. And then the enrollment, that is where I will say I'm not the expert. I'm not working in the school every day on the admissions enrollment process, but I think that it does a good job of any sort of sales cycle funnel, showing kind of those different parts of the funnel, the prospects, to getting the right fit students. So talking about the brand, I'm going to put some questions together to get you thinking, what makes your school different? That's the essence of your brand. What is the current perception of your school? That perception might be different than what is actual reality. What is the current marketing message that you're using? Does that go with the current way that your school, what makes you different? Those three things tie together. And then what is the state of the school and the vision for the future? So a lot of that is driven obviously from the leadership, but if your school is deciding to maybe change the way they do curriculum or make big changes, like you don't want to be marketing a different message than what is really happening. And a good way to start to find these things out is what do your current parents think. There's ways to do surveys or in-person focus groups. And what is the current look and feel? A lot of times people think the current look and feel is great, but I would say in general most everybody needs to be updated and refreshed. And then what are those current brand assets? What are those colors and fonts and photography that can be used in the marketing? Do you have a library toolkit of things? So I put this logo on there when I was thinking about branding schools. I just thought that it was, I know nothing about the school, but I really got a sense of the school from this logo. The artful learning, the way that the kind of wings are rising up, the different colors, like it really said a lot to me without having to say much more with it. I thought it was a great example. So to get into the marketing, we always start with what are your goals? Is your goal retention or is your goal enrollment? Or is your goal something totally different, fundraising, or what are you trying to market? You're trying to get people to an event? What are the overall goals? And then a lot of the work I'm going to talk about with St. Thomas More, a lot of the talk is what are the grade entry points? So if you're K through 12, maybe or preschool even, you have like 4 entry points, right? With the junior high, people maybe switch at the preschool or the high school. So those are really the different audience segments. So then when you have those different audiences narrowed down, who are those prospective parents' demographics, right? Your high school age parent is going to be different than your preschool age parent. And where they're spending their time either online or in print media, if you're trying to market to them, it's going to be different. So what we usually do is we segment those audiences. So we take the overall message and then we segment it for the different audiences and demographics. And then we determine the appropriate media channels and kind of the mix based on the budget and all the goals. So that's just the planning part. And then the enrollment part. So I kind of have to say that there's not like one size doesn't fit all. So I think personalized experiences are really the best way to go. Some people want a tour, some people want a virtual tour. It's nice to be able to have both. Does your principal give your tours, or does your principal offer meetings if they want, or can they meet with certain grade teachers? I think it's good to have a plan for all types of parents because they're online doing all this research of all these different places they can go, and they're seeing the virtual tour from somebody else, but maybe not you. One thing too is, some parents like different ways of communication, right? So text, is it okay if we text you? It's becoming more common that we're texting clients lately. It's just become that it's more personal. Some people still like a formal mailing. They want a phone call. Some people don't answer their phone if they don't know who it is now, if you don't know your cell phone number. So I think you have to be prepared kind of to reach people where they're at and personalize your experience. One example we have from St. Thomas More is ambassador families. So there's some key families who've been assigned either a new preschool family or a new kindergarten family, and you're supposed to reach out a couple times a year, invite them to things, and really work toward building that community. And then I keep going back to driving engagement, so whether that's online or in person, and that's kind of how you build your school community and your school reputation. So I mentioned a couple things about St. Thomas More. To get started, I'll say that I'm a parent of 3. I'm just a volunteer on the marketing committee, but somehow my company's kind of taken it over. So we had new leadership in both the parish and the church over 2 years ago now, and that's really when kind of stuff started to change. So we got really approval from the top of the leadership to let's go out there and be louder. Let's refresh things a bit. Let's put big, huge signs on our building on Plymouth Avenue because we need to be bold and we need to let people work here. So they have a little branding issue that they were forever St. Luke's for 100 years or something, and I don't think St. Thomas More is maybe 10 years old. Well, everybody in the neighborhood still calls it St. Luke's. So part of the reason to get the name out on the big, huge building that everyone drives by all the time is remember the name change, everyone. Remember that we're here. Stuff's happening. So when we started evolving the brand, we don't want to go too far because this was just going to be a refresh, right? We didn't want to get a ton of committees and parents and bad feedback. So we did some subtle changes, and this was just to simplify it. So if you can see, there's a lot of ornate things. We simplify it. We updated the blues. So a lot of people wouldn't tell the difference, but when you see now really dark navy blue shirts on everybody, dark navy blue signs, it really is different than this royal blue that they had before. And then we worked on the messaging. So welcoming hearts, inspiring minds, igniting excellence is the tagline. And so we worked on a lookbook brochure for the main school. There's also one that matches for the preschool. We're running ads in print and digital. There's new yard signs that went out this year, and they're working on things like an infographic, kind of more in-house. So everything kind of bring this new look forward and really to show this old traditional school that's been here a long time is being refreshed. Things are happening. It's a good place to be. There's new leadership and there's a big vision for the future. So to give you a little insight on kind of some of that work is the goal setting we did. So first we defined the goals. So kind of the example goals below are we wanted to generate overall brand awareness. So in St. Paul, it's a hyper-competitive market with, I don't know how many Catholic schools nearby, but maybe 12, I don't know. So very competitive. We wanted to generate awareness of what the school is doing. And then specifically, we wanted to increase preschool enrollment, kindergarten enrollment, and then retain current families. So defining these goals helps us figure out what then the strategy should be. So an example of, oops, I'll go back one. So then once we determine the strategies, then we determine the tactics. So an example of one of their goals, increase preschool enrollment. So one idea we came up with is to have a summer tiny carnival and invite all the local neighbors. So this is geared towards people 0 to 5-year-old kids. And the kids in the summer program are going to it anyway, and the older kids at the school in the summer program put it on anyway. So it wasn't a brand new idea, but the idea to actually open it to the public and invite people nearby. And they had balloons and face painting, and it was cute. The older kids did all of the different carnival stations, and they really got people involved. And it really was a pretty easy idea. There wasn't a lot of financial stuff that went into it. I think the balloons were new, maybe, that they were going to buy snacks for the kids anyway, so they bought a little bit more. So this was just one idea or example of how defining that goal and then how to reach the goal happens. So they're doing some other things, and I can say that they're some other examples are they're updating all their photo assets. So they have a professional photographer just came in to get a bunch of photos done. We're running some traditional print media. I brought a sample of the Villager ad that just came out yesterday that they're in. And then they're doing some other outdoor media and then some digital media. And one example of something they're doing is paid social. So I don't think that many other schools are doing it, but they're really defining who, targeting zip codes, targeting people on Facebook, and making sure their ad is seen specifically to those target audiences. And I don't know the demographics of all the targeting, but you can go down to whether people are married, single, ages of kids. Next on the list is their website and radio too. So everything can't be done all at once. That's kind of the limited resources point. So you really got to plan out what's most important for maybe this year or this timeline for admissions or enrollment goals, and then phase in your other things as you can. So some of the results are this year they have 14 new families. The preschool is growing. I think it's almost full now, but the 4-year-old rooms are full, and they're talking about adding a 4-year-old room for next year. And then at the same time, the parish is launching a capital campaign with the school. So there's kind of a lot of excitement happening on both sides. So then I brought examples of our work with District 196 and Lakeville schools, and I know that it's very different in the public school market, but I was telling Tim that they have really limited resources as well. District 196, I think, has 33,000 students, and they have 2 people in their marketing department. And Lakeville only has 2 people in their marketing too, and then Little Stone. But they actually put out an RFP. They wanted an updated brand and look, and when we were awarded the work, this is what we came in and saw. This was their logo, number 196. They have 33 schools, or 28,000 students, sorry, but there's 3 large communities because it's Rosemont, Apple Valley, and Egan, and parts of other communities as well. So we worked with them on a process-driven rebrand. We did a lot of discovery work. We met with a lot of principal groups, the executive teams. We did online surveys to students, to parents, other parts of the community. Really before we started our creative work. Then we worked on visual concepts and messaging, and then we reviewed kind of the final creative with stakeholders and did another online survey to get their inputs. And then we had to present to the school board and get their approval. So it was kind of a long process. We started in November, and then it launched for the following school year. So here is the before and after. So everyone we talked to at every single meeting said academics, arts, and athletics, AAA, AAA. So everything we came up with had A's. But then really what we decided is there 3 communities needed to be represented and 1 district, but infinite possibilities. Because they're so large, they have so much opportunity. You can go to so many different schools, so many different programs in their district that it really, the looping infinity symbol really represents the communities and all the opportunities that they have for their students. So this was a little bit more on the process of research, focus groups, and the creative. So we did also work on that tagline and developed that. And then at the end, what we came up with is this toolkit. So they have in their pockets, if they have in-house designers, or if they want to have us continue or anyone else, they have all those things. We have a huge style guide for them. Different variations of their logo. They have templates for ads, their newsletter. They have identity system that drills down to even how their individual schools should work with the umbrella brand of the district.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Why on earth do they need to market? Yeah. They have 33,000 students?
I think 28,000, 33 schools.
33 schools.
They don't need to market, but they need to, their image didn't match what they were doing.
They're having problems, they're losing students.
No, but it is highly competitive with their high schools and their bordering communities. They are the chosen district by real estate terms in that area. People want to be in their district.
Exactly.
But they don't. Their image, what they portrayed, I mean, sometimes it's internal too, right? So their internal staff, everybody didn't get behind the black logo that looks like the state of Texas that was just found.
I don't know who lives in that little white line that surrounded by the blackness. You know, what kind of neighborhood is that? They look like Pluto Mint, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is an example of how they launched it, and they did a lot of things with their students and drove a lot of social media and online engagement. And we saw even this school year on the social, they were doing a lot of other new things too, which is fun to see how it's, when we create the brand, how we see how it's evolving.
Just so you know, I think it's a tremendous improvement.
Thank you.
Because we're talking private school guys, right? We're competing in free public schools, right?
Right. And then we did some work with Lakeville. So Lakeville is a little bit different because they had gone through this process a couple years ago. But the interesting thing about them was that their tagline was transforming learning. And absolutely nobody in the district, faculty, staff, administration, and students, nobody could remember the tagline, liked the tagline. They didn't feel like it reflected what they were doing. So we worked with them to further develop their brand story. So we weren't going to redo their creative, but building upon what they already started, provide some more clarity and consistency and their key audience for their staff, teachers, parents, community, and students. And they really wanted to unify the schools and offer a foundation for growth. So this process also involves a lot of research. So we met in person and did some online focus groups. And some examples of that is, what do you tell people you like? And then we can see how these words, like a word cloud, builds when people all say the same thing. And then from there, we did our creative work, and then we got stakeholder input and did some refinement and final creative, and then we presented to the board. And we had two big naysayers on the board at the board meeting who did not like the final stuff. So then we had to overcome that. So this is the before Lakeville Area Public Schools, and it was transforming learning. So we came back with student-focused, community-connected. Everybody in Lakeville, no one said that they're in the district. I don't even know if it's 194. No one ever said 194, even though that's their URL. It makes no sense. Nobody really ever said the word public. So we're like, why does your logo have public in it? Everybody in Lakeville just says Lakeville. So we came back and suggested that they be just Lakeville area schools and student-focused, community-connected to really drive home who they were in the Lakeville community. And this is going to just start playing. So we wrote the brand story. That's the words in this video. We didn't do the video, but part of our work was giving them this final brand story, and then this is what they did with it. So it just goes to show how video can drive emotion, right? But now, and that's all I have, so we have enough time for questions.
Megan, the 14 families that were recruited for St. Thomas More, what funnels did those primarily come from?
I believe mostly word of mouth. I don't
Do you know what grades they focused on primarily too? Was it
Well,
pre-K?
the 14 new families are not preschool or kindergarten because they consider those new. All new families, even if you might have siblings. So that's grades 1 through 8. And I really think it was just the general brand awareness.
So, question on traditional kind of marketing versus all digital. 'Cause, I attend our marketing meetings and we have a few people like yourself that are in the business, but yet, one will say, oh no, you've got to go billboard, and then one will say, no, we can't track it. And so just your thoughts on, okay, we have a limited budget, in order, what would you do first for marketing?
I think it depends on your goal.
Well, that would be enrollment.
I think it depends on your location.
Okay.
So billboard is not necessarily going to drive any leads, and you can't track it. I mean, in general, it's more brand awareness. But for St. Thomas More, billboard makes sense because in the city, people are driving by. There's a lot of competition, and one of the things we wanted to show was just that the school is alive and stuff's happening, and we can compete with the other schools around. If you're a smaller school in a rural area, I don't know why you would need a billboard.
Right.
You could use signage on your own fence. I mean, but that's another thing we've done at St. Thomas More is utilize the campus they have. And so we have a sign on Lexington, we have the big signs on the front of the school that you saw. So you don't have to pay for a media company if you have a good location and space. I think billboards are kind of tricky. I think it depends what you want to get from it.
And then as far as print goes, we've been kind of leaning towards, Facebook and some of that digital stuff, where you can see what you're getting back.
Well, I brought, in general, yes, because you can see what you're getting back and people can share it and all of that. But I will say, in St. Paul, the Villager newspaper in our area is kind of still king and it's expensive. But I brought it because I just got it yesterday and I was like, okay, well, do you want to be advertising in the same issue with not necessarily competitors? St. Thomas Academy is probably a feeder school together. But do you want to be listed with some other really good schools and just show that you're kind of on the same level? And there's reasons why print might make sense. Another way we've used print for them is a different neighborhood that we've found that a bunch of families are from, not in the core neighborhood. So we're doing some print in that neighborhood publication. The other, it's kind of print, so it's kind of alternative, but I'll bring up one of our clients, and not in the education space, but is Park Dental. They have a lot of different dental clinics. They're opening new ones. They're going into different markets all the time. And one thing, they do a lot of print. They do a lot of community advertising. And one thing they noticed for their Rochester location is that the print wasn't as clear of a market, or they didn't exactly know. So what they did is they just targeted the location practice, and they did door knockers. Like a 2-mile radius, and they're doing it, and it's worked, and they're doing it in a couple more locations. So, door knockers aren't going to hit, every household doesn't have kids in that age, etc. But you can do direct mail and get those demographic sublists. But the companies who do the door knockers also can give you some demographics as well.
Megan, maybe one thing would be, especially for the people that are online, I know there's a number of them from Mankato, Duluth, and some of our schools, they have kind of almost a school system, whether it's Rochester, Winona, St. Cloud. Talk a little bit about that competition. To your point, is they may not be the only game in town, but they've kind of got this more of a, to your point, with whether it's 196 or Lakeville, is thinking about the system-wide, how you make sure everything is there's a good continuity and consistency across that.
Are you like meaning the brand continuity, the marketing continuity?
Yeah, I think it's more, to me, it was more about like ensuring that if you've got multiple sites within I'll call it a school system, when one area of schools, like just the importance of that, knowing you've got to stand out when you've got other competition from the larger districts.
Yeah, I think that, like you can see the larger districts are doing things to improve their images. They know they have to compete. One kind of funny example is our client from 186 kind of was like, why are you working with Lakeville? What are you doing? That's our competition. He was like, don't make them look too good, is what he actually told me. So I think that they know that they have to compete too, and they have to do things. So I think that you have to compete with them, and just getting your message consistent across all channels is just the, if you get over that challenge, I think that you're kind of set up to then keep moving to different new initiatives.
Between current social media, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, TikToks, and video, we're pretty much driving the current market mentality for must-have items. Billboards are not must-have items; they can be extra. Print is definitely extra because print media we know is declining.
Mm-hmm.
But within the two, particularly with video, I can contrast it with social media because social media is almost always changing. Videos are a lot of work, much effort, energy. What's the shelf life? I mean, you have to do a video every 6 months,
Well, I think that
every 5.
I think the category of video is changing. So I think that you have your shorter, small, low-budget, informal videos. Like maybe even your kids doing something with the fall leaves, or really short, quick things. But I think like your produced video, I also think things are getting shorter and less produced. But I think the shelf life, depending on what it is 2 years.
2 years.
I don't know if people are going to keep watching it that long, but I think after 2 years it looks dated.
Yeah, I would have never guessed 2 years. I would have much, much shorter. Only because attention spans are so short. That's what that's why we know YouTube works.
Mm-hmm.
Because it caters to your mentality. If I can go back there 10 times in one day, and my page is populated with 20 new videos.
I mean, it depends what that video is. But if you're doing, let's say, like a campus virtual tour, your principal's talking, kind of a more produced thing, I think it can last a little bit. But then I think that can't be your only one. That's where you have to maybe mix in some other things.
And that's what you're getting to. If your own people keep watching it, then it's dated real quick, right? Because they say, "Well, I kid graduated 3 years ago." Somebody doesn't know you see that they have no idea. And that's the trick. Who's going to be watching this? Our people jump on board real quick every time we post a video.
Mm-hmm.
But as the world we want to get to, jump can't quickly post a video, watch the video.
Well, the kids that try to get them to share it. So they all have friends that aren't your school population on Facebook, but I feel like there almost needs to be instructions. So it's like, please, from the marketing firm, please share this. Or I was just telling Elizabeth at St. House where she posted an event for the open house coming up. And I was like, you really gotta look like people are going. Like, just send out a different email to all the parents that will say, I'm going to this, so it looks like 100 people are going to the get-go. Just show energy. So I'm sorry, but it's just appearances, right? People want to go where other people are going.
And Megan, on that same point, so I know you as a parent, and you're on the enrollment marketing committee, right? So what kind of advice would you give other volunteer enrollment marketing committees that want to do something active? They want to help increase enrollment, or they want to keep retention? Like, what are maybe 3 ideas that you could see would be really tangible that an enrollment marketing committee could do?
Well, everybody knows about working with committees, correct? I would say my biggest advice is to delegate who's good at what from the get-go and kind of assign people and just let them run with it, or say come back with ideas. I would say our committee doesn't meet all that often, and then stuff is kind of delegated out. And then with ideas, I mean, a lot of their ideas revolve around events, because I think in person builds community, brings people together, you can invite other people. So we're trying to come up with other creative event ideas. So one that they just started this year, which is towards the preschool enrollment goal, is there's a first Friday coffee of every month for parents after drop off. And now there's a stay and play time in the open room for little siblings 0 to 5. You don't go to school there, maybe don't go that day, they can stay and play and read books, and there's preschool teachers there. Hopefully to drive some interest in the preschool program. Is that your idea?
Would you have them do Google reviews or?
I think reviews are becoming huge. The other platform that I think is becoming huge and might be relevant depending on your areas is Nextdoor, the Nextdoor social app. I'm seeing a lot more people ask, what childcare should I just move to, or what childcare should I go to, or what school? But you can also post events on there. You can, I think, do some paid advertising. Yeah. I think that is becoming, people trust it because instead of Facebook, you might be friends of that friend or something. This is saying you live on my block or in my direct area, so people feel like they trust their neighbors even though they don't know them at all.
But you can only, we're part of this area's Nextdoor, so you're suggesting that having your committee members post on their Nextdoor, correct? Or parents and all
Or
that.
at least, as a parent, I'll scroll it sometimes, and I saw somebody asking about childcare and preschool, and I just responded as a parent. My children go here. It's great, whatever. So I think posting, but maybe just looking for, authentic opportunities to give feedback on it without being ingenuine.
Yeah, and Google's great, right? Everybody seems to trust it for some reason. But anyway, we constantly are approached by niche, greatschools.com, all these different ones, which are legit and work. I tell you what, we did niche, and our ranking is huge, but we're ranked second to last in the state of Minnesota. But we're 5 all the way across. And so next thing I know, I'm getting emails to buy a plaque that says, we're a niche great school. Are you kidding me? We're the second to last in the state. This is a phenomenal school. Our ACT's blowing them off the charts. So what do you know about those different
I don't
ones? Can you give me advice on any of those? Are they all just scams or what? Or anybody else who has anything?
I don't know if you're familiar with Cisco, because you guys are at a Lutheran school.
Right, I'm familiar with Cisco though, yeah.
So they recommend Private School Review and GreatSchools.org.
Okay, those are the two. All right, good enough.
I do know, though, that because those platforms come up high in Google, people are going to them. So I think you might not want to ignore what is out there, but I don't know if it's pay to play, if it's worth money.
All right. Well, that's good. I appreciate that heads up, Anna, because you always wonder which ones are real and which ones are just trying to do whatever.
You can say a whole lot about mission or anything about mission, so I'm curious if you guys refreshed mission at all and what you're doing with the whole Jesuit tradition, because that's so unique.
Yeah, so the formal mission statement I don't think has been refreshed. It was a little bit more just to hit the ground running last fall to get the book out. And on the Jesuit topic, that is a main driver. St. Thomas More is the only Jesuit elementary in the city. So that is what just distinguishes us, right? So, and they're really tying that a lot into the everyday classroom, a lot of the vision and the messaging that I hear at parent meetings, and then as they're touring everyone be used a lot. I don't know if the formal mission has been updated to reflect that, but the copy we used for prospective students is including it.
And how long do you keep that brochure? Talk about shelf life of video. What about printed materials? How often do you?
Until they run out.
So as an example, ours, I don't know who ordered ours last time, but they lasted 6 years.
It's too long.
Yeah.
Because the kid picture in there
Uh-huh.
is too old
So
to
I'm trying
at the school.
Right, so that's what, as we're creating a new one right now, then how far out should I be expecting to use it?
I mean, it depends. I'd say, like, if you're going to do digital printing and go lower quantities, you could use it for 1 year, refresh it a little bit each year, but it's definitely cheaper to print more. So again, I would say potentially 2 years.
Okay. About every other year.
I mean, it's kind of a large undertaking to like get all any photos and refresh it and stuff, but maybe if you think of your planning as kind of the every other year, then the 1 year you can be doing other things instead of that.
Okay.
But they did also just create additional things to kind of go with it. So they have a big overview one, but this is at a glance infographic sheet with some stats that they've been working on. You know, stats really resonate with people. So 25% is non-Catholic, 15% racial diversity, only Jesuit elementary in Minnesota, 95% parent participation in conferences. So really trying to get these stats. And the good thing is once you spend the time to do this, you can break these all apart on social or ads and use them all like one at a time. So getting that content and then figuring out how to use it or which audience would resonate to would be a good way.
So one last question on shelf life. We did our website last October. We launched a new website. How often should I be going in and changing content or pictures or anything? Like, what's the shelf life on some of that?
That's a trick question.
I mean, I would say you want to keep the website like fresh and new. I mean, obviously, like all of your content's not going to change, but keeping something new on there.
Is that because I keep getting all these? They somehow find me, and then they say, "Oh, we'll blog for you." Well, they're trying. So when you say freshen it up, are you talking
like a new picture on the homepage slider?
Yeah.
New news showing up on the homepage of like what's going on, or as a parent, I'm always kind of annoyed that like why can't I just go to the site and that has the thing about the Unity Day for tomorrow that was only an email that I'm searching and I can't find it or something. So I would say from a parent's perspective, if you can keep it up to date, I think that's useful. From marketing, kind of the picture, it comes back to a little bit of the picture thing too, that you don't want, snow picture when it's summer. If you're showing the outside, you want it to look relevant. You don't want the kid, want people to know like that kid's graduated from there. Everybody knows. So keeping those things in mind, but then, the rate of actual website change and rebuild is getting faster and faster too. And things that are 4 years old are totally old now.
Even the use of your website in total, given this answer, can fall into two completely different camps. One is your website has nothing to do with all the people who currently exist in your poll. And the other is everything needs to be about the people currently in your poll. So you might be keeping up something that is completely out of touch with which of those two models you really should be approaching. So you're maintaining all this website and it's not getting the people you want to. So for instance, it's getting all recruited. But the people who are really going there once you do an analytics study on it are people who are in your fold. So it was never a marketing tool to begin with. You misused it. So this is a way more complicated question.
Right, and we get feedback from our parents saying, we're like 4 pages in before I can find the band, schedule. I said, actually, it's 1 click. We're asking you to make 1 click to the parent resource page. But it's maybe there's a little education that we can do to say, our website's a marketing tool first and a parent resource second.
Yeah, for us, it's all about marketing. Parents can click in and find their way. We don't care because our retention is high, so we don't worry about that. But it's all about marketing. And fact, there's folks who told us take all that junk off your website. And just only stuff that's allowed you for marketing. Take all the other stuff off, because all it does is create an obstacle. They may want to come. They don't like chicken nuggets for lunch on Wednesday because there's your chicken. Anything, seriously, anything you have that you put on for your families, you can create a separate site or you set a quick link for
Yeah,
your
so where are
families.
you putting all that then?
Separate portal that's deliberately positioned, it's an education piece as you alluded to, for your parents, so they know when they get there, don't waste time on the other.
Yeah, the parents just click on that one parent
Yeah.
thing, and then it brings it all over them.
It's a sub
Sort of like
website.
an
It's an
internet.
entire sub website.
Oh,
It's as if it's a website behind the website. You're maintaining it too.
And they don't need beauty, they just need to know what's for lunch and when the concert.
right, exactly.
And all that.
That's all they want.
And so that's just real quick in the background, and in the front is why you should send your kids to our school.
Now, do you
And
guys,
it's all photos and all, not a lot of text, nobody reads anymore.
Do you guys have a login for your parents to do that, or?
No.
No, it's just like your last tab on your.
Yeah,
your-
exactly, right. And they have, we don't have school management systems,
Yes.
they want to see great, it's a whole
Exactly.
different story.
Exactly, and that's similar to what I've gotten feedback with St. PM Media, use it as a marketing site. And
Yeah, to
take
spend all
out
the money on
the
design and time, and if you don't get kids in from it, if you do get kids, it already pays for it. And
Exactly.
if you don't, you might as well just send home paper newsletters again.
Exactly. Another thing that he had suggested too is just putting all of that, that stuff that our families want on your weekly newsletter, and then track that to look at your, like through MailChimp or constant,
Right.
constant
Constant
contact,
contact,
yeah, stuff like that, so,
And that's much more easily changed,
yes.
and it's less time consuming, because I was gonna come back to this. If you're gonna maintain two sites, which is essentially what's being argued,
Yeah.
you're asking a question of how often, what's the shelf life, how often do you change? Honestly, you've got two shelf lives that are pretty short, because the one, for the parents, as activities are changing, it's like,
Yeah, it's constant.
that's gone,
Right, it's
that's
daily.
gone, that's gone, that's gone. That person's busy. The other is the marketing, and that one can't grow stale. Because if it grows stale for a second, it loses its entire purpose. So it's not an easy answer, it's a very complicated one, and it takes a lot of work.
Because we use MailChimp, and we put a lot of things to it, but to your point, oh, I can't remember, is it a black and white whatever day? And then they have to go find in the trash. Like, they don't want to take that. They are not patient enough for that. So I do feel like you have to have that linked somewhere on the website. Because we archive all of those, and I link it on the website so they can at least get to they don't have to save the email, they can get to the newsletters and quickly find it, but that's out there for anybody to read.
Right. And to the point of the newsletter, if I heard you correctly, the point of the newsletter, like, I think Dan's school's got a really good newsletter going on, constant contact, really, really good. But parents aren't saving that in general.
No.
That's why mail is becoming effective, because it just as likely to chuck that thing out with everything else they don't like.
Right.
So that is only a beginning. Those are mentioned as good tools. I view those as totally only a beginning, because they get lost. So somewhere in your website, you've got to intuitively think ahead of the parent to say, yes, today or tomorrow they're going to want to know what to wear during that special day that we've got. But put that up there. Well, I know I told them in the concept, I don't care. They lost.
No, it's gone.
it.
Or they never read it in the first place.
as far as texting, I think will start becoming more and more to getting access to text. You get them from
I think it's a powerful tool.
Old Navy or whatever, like I can't get them from your school.
We did an app for the first time this year. We did the Blooms app. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's very school focused. It's almost like a miniature Facebook portal, but just for your school. And so we made our website just be mostly here's about our school, but our parents then are subscribed on Blooms. We paid for it, but we charged our families a technology fee this year and said we're launching this new app. There's a free version of the app that one of our teachers tried last year just to test it out, and our parents, I was a parent in her classroom too and loved it. So we did it school-wide this year. I can go out and put all of our events for the entire calendar of the year and schedule it to send a reminder 2 days before or 1 day before. It's done. I don't have to, next week is Spirit Week. I already put it in. They'll get a reminder the night before. They can choose to do it by text. They can do it by email. And the nice thing is teachers can send them messages that aren't from their personal phone numbers. So it's through the Blooms app and send a quick text. Teachers can build portfolios on there. I can go on in my news feed as a mom. I see my child's classes. They can put videos of just her. It also helps with parents who don't like their kids' pictures on Facebook or on your website. Because it's an in-house app, we share everything. Like, here's a video of our kids doing their memory verse, and they give permission for their kids to be on it because only our parents are seeing it. We have loved that for putting little things up like that, and then they don't have an excuse that they didn't know it was whatever Spirit Day because they got a reminder the next
So
day.
similar to Seesaw, probably.
Yes, yeah.
What's the one you said?
Seesaw, we have our primary grades use Seesaw.
Oh,
I'm a school board member out of school, it's almost 700 kids, and we use the program, but we've gone completely away from letting parents get bogged down to the website.
Yes.
So this system, it's a weird system. I think for me it's like, whoa, overload. But for them that are younger, their kids are, they're in their late 20s to their 30s, parents.
Yeah.
For them, it's like a text message scrolling constantly, and they get them as emails. And so I get all of them too, so I can see what's going on, so I can proactively monitor it. But they love that thing because it also acts like a Facebook page, so they can talk to each other. And
We have our parents inviting to birthday parties on it, like one of our new families, because they don't know any of our kids. Hey, we're having a birthday party because I'm on everyone's page, I get constant messages. But if you just have one child there, or even two children, you're only seeing their classes' messages. It's been worth the money for us this year.
It's revolutionized our communication.
Yep.
What is the name of it again?
Blooms. Bloomz.
okay.
Yes. Not like Bloom's taxonomy, but I mean, it's a play on that, I'm assuming, but it's been really.
That's very cool.
It is. I got a really good feedback from one of our parents who actually negotiates tech contracts, and she gave me some words to say to get our contract down with the agreement that we would kind of blog about our experience as a small school, like how it worked for our school. So we had talked them down, negotiated them down, but then we set our tech fee for our kids for that specific thing. So our families are typically covering half the cost. Because we wanted to try, we didn't know if it would work, and we wanted to say we care about communicating with you. And we had done each class had their own website, and that was just way too much. Do I check the school website? Do I check my class website? This is all one place. So all school things I post about that go to everybody, but then classroom teachers can still do theirs.
But there are multiple ones out there that are pretty good.
Yeah.
There's another one called Herd Now, H-E-R-D, Herd Now.
I would say though,
There's some really good ones.
going back to the marketing outer face website that's not the parent communication tool, you still should have some events and some stuff going on because the prospective parents want to know about that. So I wouldn't hide everything.
Yes.
Well, my fear is if you get away from the public social platforms, then there's no organic reach. Like everything that goes into Seesaw, I can't do anything with it from a marketing standpoint.
Everything on Blooms can be shared also to Facebook, which that's one of the features we liked about it, and that parents can choose the language that they see it in as well, so it's available in Spanish, so our Spanish-speaking families can say, I want to see my announcements and things in Spanish. We had a translator several years ago, and everything we wrote in newsletters, or they would translate, we don't have to do that. But we still we have the Google Calendar linked to our Facebook page that has events too that people can see, here's what we have going on.
Is there any online questions?
No.
No. I think you did a good job.
Well, thank you all for coming today. The conversation we had was really engaging, so we appreciate all the opportunity for everyone to tell about what you're doing in your schools. You will be receiving an email from us in the next day with an evaluation along with the PowerPoint presentation and the recorded webinar, so you can go back and look at different things throughout the presentation. Megan, thank you again for being here and presenting for us in Notre Dame, for hosting this event today.
We have one question from online saying, too late, saying, oh wait, I gotta get down there. Can we get information on the suggestions for apps, Seesaw and the other apps they are talking about, even if we could have the suggestions that were made, as it is very difficult to hear and understand? Yeah, and we will, we'll definitely,
We can put together a
We'll put together
summary
a- yeah.
and we'll email it out to everyone.
I also have, in case anyone's interested, I have a case study on our work with District 196. If anyone wants a copy about those along.
we'll put those up on our website too.
So then I just also wanted to invite all of you to our next professional development training, which will be in December. It is scheduled for December 6th, and it is a development-focused training with the title Crafting the Donor Story. So the location will be to be determined. Some of the key points will be discover the language donors need to hear, design steps for personal interaction with key donors, and deliver a unique and compelling donor experience. So we hope you'll join us for that. And then we also have over here, if anyone's interested, a brochure Tim referred to that has all of our professional development training dates on, as well as our grant introduction for the year, and the deadlines for that are listed on here as well if you want to grab one when you leave today. Thanks, everyone.
Don't lose your recording.